Hey Super Scientist, this is section Micro 6 and we're going to be talking about infectious and non-infectious disease and what the difference is between the two. So we talked about infectious disease already. Infectious disease is going to be caused by the presence of a pathogen in the body. A pathogen is going to be a disease-causing substance. And these are the different pathogens that we've talked about: parasites, viruses, bacteria, fungi, and protists. Each of those has different organisms within it that can be considered pathogens. So if you were to get a specific bacteria in your body, then it could cause you to get an infectious disease, just depending on the type of bacteria that it is. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, protists, parasites are all capable of transmitting different types of infectious disease. So for example, if you were to get the Streptococcus pyogenes bacteria into your body, it's going to cause you to get strep throat. Tetanus is also another example of an infectious disease caused by bacteria. Viruses, these are a few common viruses. Cold viruses are caused by a lot of different types of viruses, but coronaviruses are one example of disease that can cause cold. Because remember, there's a lot of different types of viruses, a lot of different types of bacteria. The flu, influenza, and HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. So all of those are examples of viral diseases. Some fungi diseases. Ringworm is one example. It's something that's really common that a lot of kids get. Histoplasmosis is another example. And there are other types of fungi that are beneficial and are things that we eat even, like the yeast in bread or mushrooms. So not all fungi are bad, not all viruses are bad, not all bacteria are bad. Protist. Malaria is one example. So malaria is a protist. It's going to be transmitted by a biological vector. Dysentery, that is from the presence of an amoeba. And Chagas disease. Parasites, ticks. The bite of a tick can transmit different diseases, several different diseases, but Lyme disease is one example. Rocky Mountain spotted fever is another. Mosquitoes, they can transmit lots of diseases. Zika virus is one. Fleas can transmit different pathogens like the bacteria that causes the bubonic plague, the Yersinia pestis bacteria. Tapeworms, hookworms, those are other examples of parasites. And this is a nice picture of the head of a tapeworm. How are pathogens spread? Pathogens are going to be spread in several different ways. We've talked about this a little bit already. So contact with an infected person, contact with contaminated soil, food, water, or air, a contaminated object, or a biological vector, the bite of an animal that is infected and that can transmit a specific pathogen. So all of that information was about infectious diseases, diseases that are contagious. The rest of this information is about non-infectious diseases. Non means not. So non-infectious diseases are not going to be contagious. They're not spread person to person, and they are not going to be caused by the presence of a pathogen in the body. These are all some examples of things that people sometimes are allergic to. So latex, as in gloves, pollen, dander, mites, peanuts, shellfish. So all of those are examples of allergies. And those are not all of the allergies, but those are some pretty common ones. So on each of these different non-infectious slides, what I've done is in red, I've put some information that's kind of the key terms about that information. So an allergy is going to be a disorder where the immune system is overly sensitive. It's hypersensitive to a specific substance, a foreign substance that gets into the body. Some common examples of allergens. Allergens are the things that cause allergies, that cause people's immune systems to overreact. Dust, pollen, mold, different types of foods. So there are a lot of different types of things that are allergens that people can be allergic to. And some people are only mildly allergic, like it might make you feel uncomfortable or make your throat feel itchy, or you can take some Benadryl to help you feel better, or it could be a really severe allergic reaction. You might have to have an EpiPen. Asthma is something that is really common also. You may have asthma, you may know of someone who has asthma. So asthma is going to be a non-infectious disease. It's a disorder within an individual's body where the respiratory passages are going to narrow. They become inflamed, and it can cause the person to become short of breath. So this is the normal bronchiole. These are the tubes that are in your lungs. And a person that has asthma, when they're undergoing an asthma attack, the bronchioles become inflamed and they constrict. You can see how much smaller and kind of tighter the bronchiole is in the asthmatic versus a normal bronchiole. So during an asthma attack, it becomes really hard for a person to breathe. And a lot of people with asthma will have inhalers that will help them to kind of relax the bronchioles. Diabetes is another disease that is non-infectious, and it's where the body doesn't either produce enough insulin or can't use it properly. So there's a couple different types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. There's also gestational diabetes, which is a type of diabetes that ladies can get when they are pregnant. So diabetes is going to be dealing with sugar and the body's ability to use that sugar or to produce the insulin in order to use the sugar. Cancer is also something that we're all probably familiar with, and you may know of someone that has cancer or had a battle with cancer. So cancer is going to be a disease that is non-infectious, and it's where the cells grow and divide without stopping. Those cells will end up causing tumors to grow. And so you can see that kind of happening in this image here. You have normal cells. Those cells have become cancerous from some kind of carcinogen or something that has been in the environment that has been a mutagen and has caused problems with that cell. And it causes these tumors to start forming. So a bunch of these cancerous cells have started replicating, and they basically just don't know when to stop dividing. They just continuously replicate, and they bunch up, and sometimes it can break off cells. Those cancer cells can break off from the tumor and can move around the body. And that's what happens when a doctor might say that somebody's cancer has spread. It has spread to other parts of the body. So what are some environmental carcinogens? So carcinogens are going to be things that can cause cancer. So carcin means cancer. Mutagens can be substances that change DNA. So you might be wondering, why are there a bunch of crazy pictures like Spider-Man moving really fast on the screen? And that's because those are things that we may be familiar with that have had some kind of mutation, some kind of alteration. So Spider-Man, bitten by a spider, radioactive spider. Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So radioactive waste that ended up mutating their DNA, and now they are mutant ninja turtles. So mutagens are substances that can change DNA. Carcinogens, the stem carcin means cancer. So carcinogens are things that are going to cause cancer specifically. So mutagens can mutate the DNA. It can be a harmful mutation, or it might not have any effect at all. But a lot of mutagens are going to be carcinogenic. They're going to cause cancer. So here's a couple of different examples. Ultraviolet light, UV radiation, it's going to cause skin cancer. So this is showing you some different images of moles that are on the skin that are different stages of abnormality. So again, your stem carcin means cancer. Asbestos. Asbestos is a very fibrous mineral, as you can see in this picture here. And asbestos can cause lung cancer, so from the inhalation of the fibers. Another carcinogen is tobacco products. So whether that is chewing tobacco or cigarettes, a lot of different tobacco products are going to be capable of causing cancer. So they are carcinogens. And this is showing you normal lungs versus a smoker's lungs. And you may wonder what's going on in this image. Well, that's mouth cancer. This particular individual had cancer so severely that it actually ate a hole in the side of his face. there's a lot of bad stuff in tobacco products and vapes as well. So vapes are going to contain carcinogens, but they also can really damage the inside of your lungs, because if you think about it, your lungs can't throw up. Your lungs can't get rid of the stuff that's in there that's bad. So if you put bad stuff into your lungs, if you breathe bad stuff in, then it's going to stay there.